All right, so we're looking at WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. This was the third entry into the SmackDown series. So, one of the things that I really always appreciated about this game, I already know the immediate reaction is, well, it's not Here Comes the Pain. Yeah, it's not Here Comes the Pain. Here Comes the Pain lives in lore in wrestling fans' minds. It's the impetus behind the new AEW wrestling game, which hopefully will be, honestly, I hope it's a direct copy. To be honest, I think that would be great. A modern, system having that game would be amazing. But regardless, this game has a lot of value on its own. Um, so let's just start with what value does it bring? Well, the season mode in this was incredible. It really felt loose, like you could just free roam around, get into confrontations with people. Um, I think the strength of this game and the strength of every wrestling game is going to be its roster. I think that's what makes it unique, roster and match types. So if you just take a look, like I'll just go to a simple, you got single, tag, six-man tag, handicap, Royal Rumble, King of the Ring, hardcore. Now, hardcore and street fight have a lot of overlap. I think the difference is one of them, I don't remember which one. One of them you can pin outside of the ring, so it's like a falls count anywhere match, and the other one you have to get the pin inside the ring. But there is obviously some overlap. But compared to modern games where there's literally three or four match types of the exact same thing, this game is a lot more diverse when it comes to match types. You have survival, and then special, which gives you a whole other group of matches. So you have cage match, elimination match, Hell in a Cell, I Quit match, Iron Man match, ladder match, last man standing, lumberjack, which hasn't been in wrestling games in a long time, Slobberknocker, which is basically just like an single elimination tournament for you, where you get in the ring and they send wrestlers to the ring and you got to beat them. And I think it's usually beat the clock, but that was spawned after the old JR term about Slobberknocker. But that was a fun mode. Special referee, which really doesn't work well now, and I'm not actually don't think they even have that in the current game. Street fight, which I said is very similar to hardcore. Submission match. Now, to be fair, because this game, unlike Here Comes the Pain, which is the beginning of really limb targeting in the PlayStation style of wrestling games, this game, because there's really no limb targeting, submission is a little bit here and there. You don't really work body parts. I mean, you can work the legs and then have Kurt Angle do an ankle lock, but you could basically beat up your opponent in any way you want, and then apply a finishing move, which is a submission in this case, with like a Kurt Angle, a Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho. I think Dean Malenko, the Texas Cloverleaf. There are a couple guys that have submissions prominent. Ric Flair, obviously. I created Bret Hart, so I would use his figure four. But it's still fine. Table match. Tables in this game are pretty cool because if you can get on top of the table and not slide off, you could do any move through the table. Or they have fixed moves, powerbomb, pile driver. Or you can put them through the announce table. You can set up the table in the corner. So there's a lot of fun to be had in this game with tables. And obviously, jumping off the ladder and putting people through tables is another fun thing. TLC, which you'll know, Three Stages of Hell. So Three Stages of Hell is basically like you pick. It comes after that famous Triple H versus Stone Cold No Way Out, where it's basically 2 out of 3 falls, and you can pick the match types. So you could start them in a cage, go to street fight, Hell in a Cell. So that's a pretty cool concept. They don't have that anymore. Obviously, regular cage. Now, in this game, because it's a little different in the targeting, cage matches are fun, but they're not. You can't really use the cage as a weapon the way you can. At least I haven't been able to figure out how to do that in this game. And then back to elimination. So, give you a lot of match types. Now, this just seems like a lot. If I go back to, which I can, and I probably should do a video on it, like SmackDown 1 and 2, 2 especially, they have casket matches in that game. Now, this game doesn't have Inferno match. I don't think Inferno match was in the last game. Inferno matches are brought in I believe, the SmackDown vs. Raw series. They added Inferno match. I forget which game specifically, but that was a cool addition. But match types like Buried Alive, Casket, I mean, that's really the only thing that's missing from here. But look, if you think about the depth of the matches, I mean, and I will say, like hardcore, you could do a time limit match, which is very very cool. Where basically you start as a champion, and then you have to not get pinned, and whoever pins you becomes the champ, and whoever's the champion when the clock runs out is the hardcore champ. So it's a very very fun concept when they do the time limit stuff. We could actually just do a. Let's see. Why don't we do a cage match? I don't know. I guess I just crapped on it, so maybe I shouldn't do a cage match. We can do table match. Let's do single. So now I talked about the strengths of a wrestling game. What makes them unique? Well, here's something else that makes wrestling games unique. The roster. Shawn Michaels, Shawn Stasiak, Spike Dudley, Stacy Keibler, Stephanie McMahon, Steve Austin, Tajiri, Taz, Test, Tori Wilson, Triple H. Here's the fun thing though. Go to Triple H, right? And I'm gonna end up picking him. But essentially 3 types of attire. He has his regular trunks, he's got his jacket, and he's got the t-shirt and jeans. They don't do that nowadays. You have to create a wrestler if you want something like that. Vince McMahon, The Undertaker, it's Biker Taker. He's got a few attires as well. X-Pac. Now, these are just made-up guys. I created Batista, Goldberg, Lashley, Bret Hart, some made-up characters, some different versions of Triple H that aren't that great, some made-up New Japan-type guys, some guys that are generic that are supposed to be like Attitude-era WCW guys. Road Dogg. My Road Dogg's actually pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Pat myself in the back on that. Same thing with my Scott Steiner. This is a hybrid character. Shane Douglas, Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious actually came out pretty well, too. And I took some of these from... there's some great websites that you can look up where they help you create the characters, because the Create a Character suite in these games versus the new ones are based on statistics. So there's a lot of like fixed numbers to make the facial features specific to look like guys. So it's actually easy to create a wrestler who looks just like a character from back in the day, because you just follow the guide. The guide, a lot of these guys that put out these guides are very accurate. They'll say use nose 100/300, right? Because it's usually a graphical base, kind of like a plot, a dot on a graph. So they'll say use 138, use -42 and 55. So if you follow that along, it's very easy. Al Snow, Albert, Big Show, the Big Valvoski, which is Val Venus, Billy Gunn, Billy Kidman. Billy Kidman, a rare entrant in a wrestling game. He does not make another appearance, I don't believe, in another WWE game. So it's rare to have him in, but very cool. Underrated character. Booker T, who has multiple attires. Bradshaw, Brock Lesnar. This is his first appearance in a wrestling game. He has 2 attires. Bubba Ray, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Christian, Chuck Palumbo, DDP. DDP will make a appearance later in wrestling games. I think he comes back in WWE 2K16 or 17. But this is his first and last appearance in quite a while for a WWE game. Devon Dudley, Eddie Guerrero, Edge, Farouk Goldust. Now, I realize I'm streaming this off of Connector, and there's a chance that the video capture here will... So there's a chance this might be laggy. I've had this problem before, so if it is, the gameplay might not come out right, but my overall commentary about the game will stand. So anyway, Eddie Guerrero, Edge, Farouk Goldust, Hardcore Holly, Hollywood Hogan. Now, Hollywood Hogan has his red and black attire in this game. He also has the black and white. So they give you a couple combos and copyright. This game has the Hollywood Hogan Jimi Hendrix music in it, and that's a rare appearance for that because of licensing. So pretty cool. The Hurricane, which is Shane Helms, Sugar Shane, Ivory, Jazz, Jeff Hardy. This would be he was supposed to be in Here Comes the Pain, as we all know. Famously, he was in the commercial for it, the initial demo, but then because he left the company, they pulled him out. So he's not in that game, and he's not. He also is not in WWE Raw 2 on the Xbox. Kane, Kevin Nash, Kurt Angle, Lance Storm, Lita, Mark Henry, Matt Hardy, Maven, Molly Holly, Randy Orton, his first appearance in WWE games, obviously first of many. Raven, and this is his last appearance in WWE games. I think he might have been in. He was in WWE Just Bring It, or WWF Just Bring It. Rhino, I think Rhino makes it to Here Comes the Pain. I'm not sure, actually. I don't remember. He'll be in and out of games. Ric Flair, Rico, Rikishi, Rob Van Dam, The Rock, who has multiple attires, including the beginning of the Hollywood Rock look with the leather coat. But this is like when he comes back from Hollywood, he's about to disappear again to Hollywood. This would have been based on the era where he is going to lose at SummerSlam to Brock Lesnar. Scotty 2 Hotty, Shawn Michaels, and now we've made the full round. Sean Stasiak, aka Meat, who I'm sure all of you have been waiting to use. So anyway, we'll go ahead and play a match. And if the video capture has this is very laggy, I apologize. My commentary about the game will stand, but the gameplay might be unwatchable. In that case, you feel free to turn off this video. Oh, and I'll throw out there, you can like and subscribe if you want, but I'm not going to consistently ask you for that in the beginning of my videos because I actually think it's kind of annoying, frankly. I know you'll like and subscribe if you want to, and if not, no problem. I really do this for fun and kind of do this just for myself, and hopefully people like it. I'm not a professional, so I'll throw that out there. So we'll do Triple H versus... Let's see who would be fun to do. I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I won't do... we'll do Kevin Nash. Yeah, we'll do Kevin Nash. So table match, Kevin Nash. Use B attire. Also, arenas in this game. Now, I actually haven't unlocked every arena, but there are a lot of good ones, obviously. This is a great era. It's the beginning of Ruthless Aggression era, so WrestleMania 18, Backlash, Judgment Day, King of the Ring, SummerSlam, Unforgiven. Why don't we do Unforgiven? That's one you don't hear about. All the sets back then were amazing, unlike today. It's normal charge speed, match length, 15 minutes, that's fine. Entrances, yeah, although I'll probably skip through a little bit, to be honest. All right, here we go. Look at that set. How cool is that? The jean jacket. That's a rare appearance. Now, the jean jacket is actually in WWE 2, WWE Raw 2 on the Xbox, which I have a video on, and I'll probably do another one about it. But that game has the jean jacket. It's just you have to add it to Triple H. You have to replace his attire that they have in the game for him and put him in that. So I've done that, and I'll actually show a video of that as well. That Triple H model, I think, is actually better than this one and better than the Here Come the Pain model, even though it's similar developers. But that game was not developed by Ukes. It was just THQ and I guess Microsoft, whereas this game is all the traditional players who make everybody's favorite game. So the models are slightly different. So the textures are different. Now you're working with a different system, so it's different settings and all that. But it's just interesting. I think the models in WWE Raw 2 are a little better than the models in this game. I think this game, the body types look a little bit more realistic. You could argue, but the facial features and whatnot are not as quite as realistic. But still, I have no problem with the graphics. I have no problem with graphics in general in a lot of old games. I grew up on these games, so I don't mind them. I know for a lot of younger fans, it's a big deal. They can't get beyond the graphics, and for that reason, they miss out on some great gameplay. So here we go. We got Triple H, Kevin Nash. How cool is it to just jump into a game where the wrestlers just have these alternate attires, where you don't need to like create a wrestler just to get the attire. Like they just give you the attire. I mean, how cool is that? It's so underrated. Now, Hunter working him over. No, I don't want to try the NWO. Now, this game does not have blood. I'm sure modern WWE would love that. But they, the next game is very similar to this, except for they add limb targeting, they add a slightly different grappling system, and they added blood. So they just basically took this game and tried to make it a little bit more realistic, which, obviously no problem with that. Here Comes the Pain is a great game, and I'll certainly do a video on that as well. But, I think Shut Your Mouth, because it's right before Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouth really takes a beating as far as its legacy goes. Not that anybody's ever, trashed it and said, oh, it's horrible, but it just doesn't get remembered with the same lore that Here Comes the Pain does. WWE Raw 2, that game gets killed because, frankly, it was on the Xbox only, and it was coming out at the same time as these great games. And the first WWE Raw or WWF Raw was just not good. So unfortunately, fans wanted no part of the second game, and a lot of people just never played it. So, how cool is this with the chair? You can do a special with the chair, you slam them down like that, nice. So you don't have the limb targeting where you can put the chair on his ankles or anything, but I always thought that move really made up for that. How cool is that, Couldn't do any of that stuff in the old SmackDown games or anything. So this was a very cool advancement. The gameplay advancement in this game is pretty spectacular. And everything about this era in WWE, WWF was pretty amazing. This is literally right after the company changed its name to WWE. Going in fact, if you played the old GameCube WWE game, WrestleMania 18, when it first came out, I think it was actually called WWF WrestleMania 18. Then they changed it because of the company, being taken down by the World Wildlife Foundation. Still funny to think about. Oh, yeah. Another thing about this game that I like better than Here Comes the Pain is how you can assault the ref. In Here Comes the Pain, it's almost impossible to really hurt the referee. In this game, it's pretty easy. Shot there, a little blow. Here you can beat down the ref. So why is that important? Well, one, if you're in a regular match and you want to use a weapon, you can actually go get a weapon because the referee is easy to take out. So there's ways to get him out of the picture so you could cheat. You can't do that in Here Comes the Pain. I mean, for some people it's well, who cares if you can't cheat? Well, it's just part of the game. It's fun. It's fun to do that. It's part of wrestling. Here we go. We got Kevin Nash. Nice counter with the neck breaker. And now a lot of people don't bother because it's a little difficult, but I like to do finishing moves through the table. If you just steady your guy, you could actually do a pedigree to end through the table in this game. You can't do that in current games unless you do the announce table. In modern games, you can only do slams. You cannot get up on top of the table like that. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that in this game. Oh yeah, you could also attack your guy after the match, a feature that would be brought in to wrestling games many years later, about a decade and a half later. So that's pretty cool. Just adds to the effect. One thing this does better than WWE Raw 2 is WWE Raw 2, when the match is over, they don't do anything. In this game, they either show the wrestler celebrating, or you could beat down the guy with a weapon, or just punch and kick him. So that's a huge factor. I guess we could do another match. You guys are enjoying this. Let's see. We'll do. Well, I just did a table match. Let's do. I'll do Slobberknocker. Blah, blah, blah. You guys can put requests in the comments if you want to see. And again, I apologize if this is laggy when it comes out. I'll still post this video because my commentary is fine. But I do apologize for the gameplay. I've had this problem with PlayStation before with my PS2. When I record off my Xbox 360, it's pretty smooth. When I record off my Series X, it's fine. When I record off of my PS2 and PS3, I have had some issues with lag. And I'm not really sure why. Let's do time limit. Do anywhere. Interesting. I've never done that. Let's just do time limit. Did they ask me how long I want to do the time limit? For Slobberknocker, let's do. I just did Triple H. Do somebody else. Taker. Maybe one of my creative guys. Batista, Goldberg, Lashley, Scott Steiner. Do Brock Lesnar. I'm assuming I could get weapons in this, but I actually haven't tried that. Oh, here comes the pain. So in this one, you don't, you actually can't pick the arena either. It's fine. It's no big deal. All the arenas in this game are good. It's a great era. So there's value in these old wrestling games. Alright. So here we go. Kevin Nash, first guy in. So I think how this works is it's a simple elimination and then the next guy comes in, or is there a clock and then they start all coming in at once? That I'm not sure. Either way, it's fun. I mean, like I said, you know, all these games have value. Here comes the pain. Shut your mouth. Even Just Bring It. I'll do a video on that as well. I'll do videos on all this stuff. But the reason why is, like, there are wrestlers in Just Bring It that aren't in this game. And here's the other factor. There's attires. There's music that doesn't make it, right? The My Time theme is in Just Bring It. Now, the gameplay in this is way better, right? No question about it. Absolutely no question. But the WWF setting, having the WWF logo everywhere, having the music, Stone Cold's 2001 style music is in there, his Bionic Redneck stuff is in there. I mean, that has value. So even though it may seem like, you know, well, one game is just better than the other. Yes, I understand that there's going to be a progression at times with these games. But the reality is that, you know, all these games have value, and even the old games that maybe are considered inferior to this, they do have value on their own. So I would recommend, like I said, I would recommend playing all these games because, like, Just Bring It, for example, like I brought up, the My Time thing. Well, for me, that has value. Like, I want to play that. Wow, Rico almost pinned me. Like, what the hell? Rico's kind of kicking my butt here. So, I mean, that to me is a reason alone to play that game. And even if you go back to the old SmackDown 1 and 2, right? 1 and 2 on PlayStation 1, those games are fun. Like, they're fast, the rosters are cool, it's fun to play again with the WWF immersive environment. I wish I could say that for old WCW games on PlayStation. Not so much, although I think Mayhem was decent. Backstage Assault really wasn't that much fun. But, you know, you can always play. I mean, if you want, you could go back to some really old school WCW games that were made by THQ before on the PlayStation, which I have. But you could always play the Nintendo 64 games if you really want to do that. But I mean, the good thing about this game and Here Comes the Pain is the rosters are a good blend, and even Just Bring It, I should say. The rosters are a good blend of ECW, WCW, and the WWF going into the Ruthless Aggression era. So there's, if you have like a favorite wrestler from those other companies that you really miss playing with, like, I mean, right here, like a Lance Storm, right? Taz, Raven, trying to think who else. RVD, right? That's another one who's in a couple of these games. You know, or if you miss some of the guys like a Kevin Nash, you want to hear the NWO music. Scott Steiner, who you could easily create, but he's actually in Here Comes the Pain. Like stuff like that, like which I totally understand that you might play a game for a character or maybe for a specific era. The good thing about this game and the Here Comes the Pain is it's a blended roster because that was the situation at the time. You know, it really was a blended roster in these companies. But Just Bring It still has value. I still play it. Is it as fun as this game? No, it's just not as complete. I'll grant you that. But it's still fun for me to play. You know, it's not like I'm sitting there like crying playing the game. It's still fun, again, with the WWF logo and everything. And the specific era of the WWF to have that. So yeah. Now Slobberknocker is just a fun mode because hey, you get in there and you just whack away with your favorite wrestlers, right? And it's random. You don't know who your opponents are. I mean, this is the kind of stuff. You know, I like WWE 2K13 and I like WWE 2K18. I played both of those on my Series X. But I will say, like, one thing that they really, really lack is they lack the match types. I mean, it's just, there's just not enough depth to the matches. Like, in this game, I can play this game for hours because I can switch up the matches. Whether it's Hell in a Cell, the Cage, the Lumberjack, Slobberknocker. You know, it's just, there's something to the having a variety of matches. If I go back and play the even older games, having the casket match, some of the WWE Raw, SmackDown vs. Raw games where they have the Buried Alive stuff. I don't think having a Falls Count Anywhere match, a Extreme Rules match, and then having a No Holds Barred match all in the same game, I just think it's like that's kind of a lazy way of putting the same match in 3 different ways. You know? And if you do a backstage match, that's basically another Falls Count Anywhere match. So it's really repetitive. Now, granted, I don't know if people who make the games really care about wrestling, and maybe they think it's fine. But, you know, it does matter to, like, wrestling fans. You know, like having a variety of matches. It just helps to replayability. Wow, he kicked out of that? He didn't kick it out of this. Here comes the pain. As Taz would say. I miss hearing that from Taz on SmackDown. Whoa, Hulk. Now, if I remember correctly, I think Brock helped Vince to beat Hulk Hogan. That was the storyline as to why he could go anywhere he wanted, right? I think that was it. Oh, no, that was The Rock. I'm sorry. That was The Rock. I forgot. Oh, Hollywood. I'm up to 7 here with 3 minutes. Not my best showing, to be honest, because I let some of these guys really hang around. Here's Raven. Just fun to have all these guys. I mean, I grew up on, WWF, WCW, ECW. So having guys like Raven and Taz and RVD. The only guy there was, Tommy Dreamer wasn't in this game. I mean, he's pretty easy to create if I wanted to. But great ECW representation and slash WCW representation in this game and in, what do you call it? And Here Comes the Pain. And yeah, I am going to do a video on that as well. And I'll do Just Bring It too, because I've brought it up a couple times. I've just been kind of sick recently. I've had the flu and been kind of ill and just haven't had a lot of time. Plus, I've been busy at work and the kids and everything. So I apologize for not getting out more content more consistently. I really wanted to get into some of these older wrestling games. Because right now I have my PlayStation 2, my Xbox 360, and my Xbox Series X all hooked up. So, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360 games, and of course current games are all in rotation as far as, wrestling games that I play. And if you've been hearing me ramble like I have been, I find value in all these games. There is value in all these games. So there's no reason to ever stop playing the old games just because of the new games. Just merely going to use my finishers here because I want to get as many pinfalls as I can before I run out of time. Bear hug, can he tap out to this or no? Brock is such a beast in this game, man. I mean, I know this is called Shut Your Mouth, but let's be honest. Like, they took The Rock and Hulk Hogan off the cover of this, and they put like the bunch of different wrestlers on there, like Jericho, Booker T, Triple H, and all that. But this is Brock Lesnar's real coming out party. Like, he is the focal point of this game in reality. And I want to say he was actually the commercial for this game, even though Here Comes the Pain is more specific to him. Hardcore Holly, no solid, attitude era guy, workhorse type. Big shows in this game. You could do the APA versus the Dudleys. You could do, Taz versus Raven. Quote the Raven. Shawn Michaels is in this game. He's not in Just Bring It. I don't think. No, he's not. He's not even in Unlockable. He is in SmackDown 2, which is pretty cool. They put in like the 98 Shawn Michaels in that game, the DX Shawn Michaels, mainly because of the timing of the timed out storylines where he was commissioner. Well, there we go. So I don't know how I finished. Like I said, it wasn't my best showing, but hey, still fun to play. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. That's SmackDown. Just Bring It. I could do more matches, but I have some other stuff I need to do. I will come back to this game. I will come back and do Here Comes the Pain. I will do Just Bring It. I'll take requests. I actually have WCW Mayhem, WCW vs NWO, and WCW NWO Revenge, No Mercy, and WWF WrestleMania on the 64. So I have a lot of wrestling games. The 64 is not really in rotation much, but the PlayStation 360 and Xbox Series X are. And I will also do something on WWE 2K16, 2K14, 13, and another one on WWE Raw 2, because it seems like a lot of you guys really like that, because that's a rare game that I just don't hear people talking about. So we'll do a video on that. But yeah, so that's it. Shut your mouth. I know I'm still clicking around, but I'm going to turn this off. Cage match. Let's see. Again, look at this. Look at this roster, man. You can't beat this roster. I don't know if anybody would actually care or want to see any of my creative guys. Like I said, Sid Vicious. These guys are really, really easy to create. Why don't I show you really quickly? I'll just show you Batista. He's a guy I literally just made. I'll do Batista and Road Dogg. Very, very quickly. I'm not going to try not to go through a whole match here. But I did just create Batista recently off an old forum that had the guide. And I thought it was pretty easy to make, frankly. So I'll just jump into this, and then I'm going to turn this off, just so you can see the character models. So if there are guys that are missing, they're not hard to make. I actually made a very, very good-looking Raven on my on Here Comes the Pain, because I wanted to have him in that game. And it was actually pretty easy, and he looks really good. I mean, I would argue looks almost as good as the Raven in this game. There's my Batista. Probably could have made his hair shorter, and I realize I might have misspelled his name, but whatever. Playing with him is fun. I guess I could have used the X-Pac music when I think about it. There's my Road Dogg. He looks pretty good, I think. I mean, obviously the face isn't perfect, but when you're wrestling with him with the hair and the hat and the DX looking logos and stuff, you pretty much forget that, you know, it's just a CAW. So, there's Batista. It's got the tats and everything. I guess this is supposed to be 2002, 2003 Batista, right after he got rid of the Deacon Batista character. So I'm using Kevin Nash's powerbomb here, by the way. That probably should do it. No. Whoa, the D-O-double-G. Resilient. Alright, my mistake. My mistake. I really thought this would be easy peasy. Hey, ref. When I say count, you count. I'm going to call the rest of Evolution out here. Boom. You could take the turnbuckle off for extra damage. Whoa. Road Dogg. Battling back. It's that D-O-double-G. Of course, I know I have all these finishers and I should start with 0, but, you know, trying to get through this video. Boom. Count it, ref, or you get another power bomb. There you go. And that's it. That's Shut Your Mouth. WWE Shut Your Mouth. A great era in wrestling games. Tons of fun. And I'll do more videos on this and all the others. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoy it. And I'll take requests if you have any. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one, and always have fun, as I always do. Like I do today, tomorrow, and every other day I'm on this planet. Right here in the corner arcade.